Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is Dr. Tamara Patzer. Hello. Hi, Tamara.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm going to start by reading your bio, and then we're going to have a great conversation about systematizing your knowledge so you can be found on AI as a thought leader. So,
Perfect.
yeah. So you're a media systems architect and publisher, and you specialize in turning expertise into structured, scalable authority. Now, we talked about it's like very similar. Like what we do is we go into a company and we extract the knowledge to create SOP, standard operating procedures, and making sure that there are training manuals. And you do it in terms of the human side. So AI can find you as an expert, because that is so needed in the world of AI search. And you build repeatable frameworks that transform books, press, podcast, and educational content into long-term visibility infrastructure, helping professionals become the trusted first answer in an AI-driven world.
Yes.
Yes. So let's talk about today. When people search for information, where do they go?
Well, it used to be that most people would type keywords or phrases into Google or Bing. Now people are actually speaking to AI, such as ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, or even Google or Bing through their AI modes. People, if you watch people, you'll see them actually talking to their phone, but they're not talking to a person. They're talking to AI, and what they're saying is, for example, I have a pain, I have a pain in the neck. Where can I go get this pain in the neck solved? Or I want to buy a new pair of shoes, and they'll talk about the brand and the size. And then depending on the AI, it'll come back and it'll say, oh, you can go to Dr. Jones. He specializes in neck pain in your town. And it used to be that you would literally get a list of clickable links. But according to the most recent data that just came out, we are literally at 92% no click of information now. People are not getting clickable links. They're actually getting an answer, and they use that to make decisions about which doctor they go to. Is that the doctor for me? And they actually will have real longer, in-depth conversations with the AI until they come to a conclusion. So my job is to take like an expert, like what you do, and to document that so that AI, Claude, ChatGPT, Bing, Google, that they say, oh, you're the expert who can deliver what these people want. So, for example, if it's a doctor, and I work with laser doctors who do work with lasers, so I try to come up with the real questions with real answers that the average human is looking for, so that AI can document that that doctor is the perfect doctor that would answer that question. That's the world we're living in now.
No, that's amazing. So here's my question. I have different questions. That's great. So first of all, my last questions in the sequence is, where do you put that information so you will make sure that AI finds you?
So the most interesting part about this is that you can start with your own web page. I call it a canonical page, which means the source of truth. So instead of putting everything on like LinkedIn, which is a good place to also have that information, you would have a page on your own website. Maybe it's under your business or your own name, and it would say what your name is, what you do, your exact address, and your credentials. And of course, you put that in what I call the human language, but then you have to also put it into machine language, which is called schema. And all schema is information that the little AI robots can scan that says entity, person. The person's name is like Dr. Tamara Patzer. What do they do? AI suggestibility. Where are they located? And it just goes down so that the machines, the little robots go, oh, entity, it's a person. This is their name. Oh, here's their credentials. Oh, look at this. They've done this podcast. They've got press. And you put all this together in one place so that the AI can go and determine if you're trustworthy or not.
So
And
where do you
there's
put it on the website? Do you create a special page for it that other people can see as well?
Yeah, I would, because what happens now with websites, for example, most people design a website to be pretty, pretty to the human eye, and they try to make it so that a human would want to stop. We know that most websites, people go and then they click off immediately. So yes, make it readable for a human being, but the reality is you want to make it readable to the machine, which is the underlayer. I call that dark matter because it's so important, but you really can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that, and you literally can train the AI. For example, Bing, a lot of people focus on Google, but Bing is very powerful. It's owned by Microsoft. Microsoft also owns LinkedIn, but Bing is the direct feed to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is actually one of the most powerful AIs that people use for search. So you have to recognize that every AI has a relationship with something. Like Microsoft is connected to ChatGPT. Of course, Google is connected to Gemini. Perplexity has relationships with major media outlets such as USA Today. There's all of these little relationships that the average person would never think
So
about.
that's why it's biased, because you have like
Yeah.
certain information. So you feel that by putting that schema page on your website, you can actually be found by the AI, by ChatGPT, by Claude, by Gemini.
Yes, it's not as simple. It's, how do you say that? Just like what you do, it's simplified, but you have to have a system, a structure in place, and once you understand what that system is, and you put it on repeat, like you put together your canonical page with all your infrastructure on it, and then maybe you go out and you do podcasts with different people. Every podcast you do, you want to add that to your list. Every podcast you do, You would want to write a press release about it so that you get it sent out so that third party media picks it up and talks about you. You would want to share that on your social media and again on your own media. Most people, they don't realize that social media is equivalent of being a renter. You're renting your space, and instead of you paying with money, you're paying with your content. You're paying with your credibility and Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok or YouTube. They're using all of your intellectual property to help promote whatever they're selling. You're in turn getting the reward of them showing your content if they choose, but you also are very vulnerable because at any time they could cut you off and everything you built could disappear. And I know many people who all of a sudden somehow you violated their terms of service or they just decided they don't like you anymore. Boom, literally poof, you're gone. So your job is to create your own, like own your website, own your own property, so that they couldn't erase you. Because right now, there's probably millions of highly accomplished people that AI has no clue they exist. They might be the number one person in the world, but they're totally invisible because maybe they rely on Facebook or another, what they call the walled garden, that nobody knows about them except in that simple space.
But do
So
you feel like if they put it on your if I put my podcast on the website, I mean, I have a whole page for the podcast, you are suggesting that you put it as well on the schema page, like you do it
you
twice?
you would have your schema is not shown to the public. It's literally inside your website on your page. And schema, again, you let's say that every podcast, every article, every blog, it has a place where you can put your schema. It's called a JSON file, and all of your schema information can be put into the back end of every post you do that you own. I use ghost.org because it was designed literally for this type of thing. And you can do it on a WordPress or whatever system you're using for your website. But for example, WordPress has a lot of opportunities to put schema into it, or Ghost is naturally designed for that. And then there's just so many places that you can amplify your signals, and that's a lot of it. People, they were back before 2020, before COVID, everybody, let's say we were in the visibility economy, everybody was about more podcast interviews, more blogs, more content, keep producing. Well, now that AI has arrived, we're moving out of visibility into what's called the selection economy because AI is the new gatekeeper. But if it can't read you in a machine readable way, you don't exist. And that's really important that podcasters understand, how do you get your podcast so the machine can read it? One part of that is transcripts of your actual podcast, adding the schema into the back end of your website, using YouTube as a format because you can now put podcasts on YouTube. Um, there's just all of these little details. Many people don't realize the power of Google Business Places, They keep changing the name, but it's the Google Maps where you put in your location. And even if you don't want people to come to your location, it would still be valuable because it feeds what's called the knowledge graph that Google uses. So there's just, like I said, there's all these little
Oh yeah,
pieces.
there is a lot here. So, Tamara, I have a question for you. How do you keep current of all the new changes, the trends? I mean, what do you do in order to keep current?
I use my friend ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and I will actually ask it when I'm working on a project. I will actually say, what is the most current information about whatever my topic is as of like today's date. And I tell it today's date because, for example, uh, ChatGPT, the last time it had a major training update, I believe was in October 2025. So it does not know um, inherently what's going on today unless you tell it to go look at what is going on today. And Claude is the same way, and Gemini Perplexity is, and Grok, which is an Elon Musk product, they literally were designed to be more about now and what's going on now. So the average person, you might be using your chat GTP thinking, you're doing the latest thing, but it all of a sudden it'll say something and it'll like tell you it's 19 or excuse me, 2024, 2025. And you go, what? Wait a second. You're like talking about something that's almost 2 years old. So right there's a clue that you say today's date. And if you use today's date whenever you're using AI, you're going to improve that experience, and you'll actually be helping to get it to recognize you. And most people, when they use the AI, it will reflect you back. And
Right.
a lot of times people don't realize that it can do many different things, like reflect ideas back to you so that you can discern your own thinking. And I find that useful because, again, I ask a lot of questions. What are the gaps? Who else is doing this work? Like what you do with the SOPs. I do a lot of SOPs too because I'm always trying to find out, well, am I missing something in my theory? And for example, Google just came out talking about how the search really works now on May 19th. And it was really confirming because it confirmed a lot of my, theories of what I've been doing. And then I'm documenting what is happening in my real time. And then Google confirmed it when they did a live event, and they were talking about how the search actually works. So I don't have any insider information, but I do regularly ask the AI, what is new, what is different. Um, and I ask the different ones and I double check. Like if one of them comes back with something that sounds like, I, Eureka, I found something, I'll go ask the other AIs if it's true
Right.
and accurate, because I figured that since they don't know each other, they can't collude and tell me that I'm right. Um, Independently, I can verify if I'm right by asking every single one the same question and see what it comes back with.
That
And
makes
I'm,
sense.
I'm like always amazed at, oh, I am right about that.
Yep.
Like AI suggestibility, I recognized that in May of 2025, and I I didn't know it at the time, but it turned out that I actually coined the word AI suggestibility. And I went and I bought the domain and, the whole thing. And now other people are starting to recognize that concept, that it's suggesting. And some people will say AI ranks. It doesn't rank. It does not recommend. Only a human can recommend something. AI can suggest
Yes, and then you,
based on
yeah.
the truth of what it can verify. It's a computer. It cannot think like a human. It has no emotion. All it can do is verify, oh, this person's name matches this person's name. This is their credential. And that's why they talk about hallucinations, is because sometimes you'll have what I call a name collision, where one time it told me that I had an engineering degree. I do not have an engineering degree. My name and this
I
other
do. Maybe
guy's
it got crossed. No, it's
name.
like you are making tremendous points here. So, Tamara, if people wanna reach out to you because they want your help, they want you to help them in figuring out how they can be visible on AI or get an actual plan of action based on all the knowledge that you shared with us, how can they do that?
Okay, two best ways. If they want to go check me out,
Go to ChatGPT.
well, you can do that, but you can go to LinkedIn and see like my entire history of my where I was and where I am now. And then I've also created AI suggestibility audit.com. And what I did is I designed a self audit that will give you a clue about how you're being seen online by the AI in this moment in time. And it'll give you a really good snapshot of where you are in the eyes of AI, in this moment in time.
That's amazing. So that's aisuggestibility.com. We'll include it.
Suggestibilityaudit.com. Yes.
aisuggestibilityaudit.com. We are going to include it in our show notes so our listeners can go there. I'm curious. I'm going to do it as well. And thank you so much, Tamara, for being a guest on this podcast. Very valuable information.
Well, I really appreciate it. And everybody, now is the time. AI is here. I have to laugh because when Facebook first came out, I have a video of me standing in my backyard, perspiration rolling down. I'm, in Florida, going, Facebook is not a fad. AI is not a fad.
I think
It's
we've already
here.
seen that. That's pretty
It's here.
obvious. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.